Welcome to Channel 18. As you can see, our first guest this morning is Desiree Mobay, the director of the Harwich Historical, no,
Harwich Historical Society, yes.
Right, yes.
It's a big mouthful.
And you're going to talk to us about several things, and I think one of them is travel, is it?
Oh, I tell you what, it's summer and the history is hopping at the museum, that's for sure. But we have several events going on right now. Of course, every week we sponsor the Harwich Farmers Market, and that's on the grounds Thursdays from 3 to 6. And right now, you know, as we all know from our gardens, it's peak season. So you can get blueberries and, you know, all the wonderful vegetables of the season, and the flowers and the plants and the herbs, and delicious breads and scones and everything.
Yeah, meat too. And I walked through there when I was out on a walk one day. You can get a cold drink as well?
That and olive oils, and you know, look into, you know, whether or not you'd like a solar energy and seasonings. Oh, you name it. There's quite a variety at the market. So every Thursday it continues 3 to 6 p.m. You know, the wonderful, freshest, seasonally grown produce.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yes, it is. Top off your summer table. Entertain your summer visitors.
With green beans.
With wonderful, the best of the local produce.
Yes.
So that's certainly one of the things that's going on at the museum, along with several of our educational programs that we offer. We have a program for kids coming up having to do with the railroad, and that's where kids get to be brakemen or conductors or engineers and help operate a fabulous and very extensive model railroad, HO scale, that we have at the museum in conjunction with the Nauset Model Railroad Club. So that program, program is this coming Monday, August 3rd. We're entering into August from 1 to 3 p.m. And we do suggest that people sign up in advance because there's limited spaces for that. So now, that's for kids.
Is there one train, or do you have several
No, there
trains?
are multiple trains.
Multiple trains,
that's
great.
They operate them, you know, in the way that, you know, like I said, conductors or brakemen or engineers would do. So it's very hands-on, a lot of fun.
And do you have bridges that they cross? Things like that?
Yeah. Yep.
Little stations where they stop to pick up passengers.
It's a scale model of the Hyannis to Orleans line that was put in right after the Civil War and really opened up the Lower Cape for freight and passenger transportation.
Well, that's great because it's on the Cape.
Yes, it is.
And it's relative to what they know.
Yes, it is. With some buildings that they'll recognize, and you know, the things that they'll say, ooh, I didn't know that was there at one point. So great way to learn about history and really have a lot of fun for all the train buffs between the ages of 6 and 12 for Monday's program.
Great age
to
be doing that.
So, and if you're a Civil War buff, we have another walking tour of Harwich Center that explores Harwich's Civil War story, and that's coming up on Saturday, August 8th. At 2 o'clock, and that's led by Civil War reenactor Brenda Collins, who does really a wonderful and very interesting job with her talk and walk.
Now, I understand that there were people in Harwich who bought their way out of the war. Is that true?
Well, there were a few, but there were over 340 that served.
Okay.
Or so it was a number, and of course, sadly, many of them did not come back.
That's
but you know, so the war really it had an impact on, you know, those families who had people serving, but also on the town finances because they tried not to draft, and so, you know, they tried to find and offer money from the town coffers to pay people the bonuses to go.
Yes.
So it was, you know, it really had a big impact on the town, like it did in every town across the country.
340 seems like it would be a lot of young men at that time.
It is.
Yes.
That's right.
I mean, Harwich is
It's a small
12,000 now, but back
yeah,
then.
it was about 2,000 to 3,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it really did have quite a big impact on the town, and it's a very interesting tour, looking at the commerce and the history of the war as it affected people here in town. So next Saturday, that would be August 8th at 2 o'clock at the museum, and it's a guided walking tour of Harwich Center.
Very good.
So, and then for people who are interested in birds and decoys and other related carvings, we are fortunate to have Ted Harmon of Decoys Unlimited come and do an appraisal day, and that's going to be on Saturday, August 15th, also at 2 o'clock. So, so that will be in about 2 weeks, and he will come and offer appraisals. They're $5 for a verbal appraisal, and I think it's $25 for a written appraisal. But he really knows his birds and crow birds, and so he'll have lots of interesting things to say if you have things tucked away in your house that you want to get some information on.
Get some information.
Yes.
Oh, I think we got a bird from one of our, I think our 50th anniversary from a friend. It's still sitting up on top of, of the bookcase, and I often wonder what kind of bird it was, and whether it's really worth anything.
It's always interesting to know those things, and as we go forward with the Kroll Barn project, we're just it's really fascinating to see just how much interest there is out there in bird carvings and bird art and so forth. So, of course, the Kroll Barn is open now.
Yes.
The workshop side is finished, and people are able to see where Elmer and his son Cleon had their shop and created, their wonderful carvings for so many years. So that's open along with the museum on Thursdays 1 to 6, Fridays and Saturdays 1 to 4. So
Okay.
hope people have a chance to come and see this. Really, it's a new museum in town.
Well, it'd be interesting to see what they do with the birds. And now, you have copies of Mr. Kroll's carvings, or?
The focus right now, and again, it's still a work in progress because we haven't, are not able to set up displays yet in the rest of the barn. But the focus is of the workshop is just to show, kind of give a sense that he just left it, but a sense of, how, these things were created, and just sort of get into that world of carving, and really long before, in some cases, the machines and so forth, but just to take it back, and you stand in there and you really get a sense of, the lighting and the things that made it special. The window that he put in so he could have his bandsaw, the stamps, where they were testing their brands on the walls,
wow.
the cupboard where he probably kept, his completed works before he sent them back. How he took his orders back in the days before there were computers, and a lot, and so forth. So it's just really, it's a really interesting world. And if you're at all a bird fan or a carving fan, it's a great opportunity to explore, this local carver's shop who became so well known.
Now, I imagine, is that gotten modern? Can they do some of that through the computers?
Maybe, but eventually, of course, we'll be having, we do have one carver, Paul Phillips, who's a local carver, who comes in on Saturdays and demonstrates for people who come by. But, eventually we'll be having other carvers as well come
Very
in,
good.
and maybe some classes. So there's a lot of opportunities for that, and for people to try their hands as well.
Sounds very exciting.
Thanks.
Well, we thank you for this update.
Well, thank you.
I mean,
Lots going on.
There is a lot going
Yes.
on at the museum.
Yep, and if people have any questions, they can check out our website, which is Harwich Historical, all that big word again, Harwich Historical Society altogether, .org, or call us at 508-432